Hello, everyone, and welcome to the weekly SIG Compute meeting. Um, is there anyone new here? I don't think so. Let me have a look. I don't think so. So, as Andrew had pointed out before, this is the KubeVirt GA release date. Let's hope that it will indeed happen today. Um, And since we're on right between releases, I guess that maybe we'll have a pretty short agenda. Alai, you wanted to raise something for discussion, right? Maybe you can do that before me.
Sure. Let me find the issue link. Um, I can talk while I'm looking for that link. So basically, this is the issue that I'm talking about is intersection between SIG scale and SIG observability. And that's why I was trying to raise it in the community meeting. But there is a I'm going to paste the link in the chat here. There is an issue we ran into where a metric was introduced in, I think, 1.3 or maybe a version before that, where that metric basically scales the Prometheus memory usage based on the number of VMIs that are there in the cluster. Are we have a large number of VMIs running at some point in the day, and because of that, we see because of this metric, the Prometheus memory usage is impacted like more than 10 gigabytes. So at scale, we would ideally not want to spend so much of control plane resources, and it would be useful to find a way to either flag this metric or remove it. I don't know what would be the right mechanism, but I think that's the discussion I wanted to have between these two SIGs.
So, Ali, is it the processing of this takes resources, or the fact that it's in Prometheus?
The fact that it is in the Prometheus, because I think Dosu board expressed this the issue more coherently. Like this particular metric uh, creates a new time series for each VMIs, and since you have a large number of VMIs, you have more time series. In more time series metrics in the Prometheus instance, and once it has more time series metrics, it starts to use more memory. I think
Yeah.
we have found that around 60k time series uses 1 gigabyte of memory. That's our working assumption right now. So I assume that this particular metric is emitting 600k time series.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that we have anyone for monitoring here.
So hi everyone. I will delegate it and escalate with SIG monitoring and observability now in our group. Yeah, thank you, Ali, for raising this.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Igor, and yeah, let's
Sure.
hope that they will answer soon.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this?
I don't think so. Just probably to be improved.
All right.
Oh, sorry. One last thought.
Yeah.
While this is just the first metric that we ran into, when we solve for this, it might be good to have a list of metrics that are like ON, where N is the number of VMIs in the cluster, and scale according to the VMs or VMIs in the cluster, and solve generically for those. So that would be an ideal situation, but it's TBD. I don't know if what I said made sense, but I wanted to understand that while we dig into this, are there other such time series metrics that are more impactful than others?
Gotcha. Yeah, I will make sure to ping the right people to answer this.
Thanks, folks. That's it for me.
Yeah, thanks for raising this. If nobody else has anything to talk about, I can talk about one of my VEPs that I have discussed here before. I think that the main thing that I want to talk about is jumping straight to GA and figuring which approach would work best for everyone. So to reiterate this, basically, this is a web tool I allow disabling feature gates. I think it's basically an API review more than a feature. That's why I want to jump straight to GA with it. I also outlined reasons for doing so at the end of the web here. Basically, it will allow, I mean, it's impactful for all other features. It doesn't really make sense to guard it with a feature gate and so on and so forth. So I think it makes total sense. But if somebody has objections, let us know. And also, there are 4 different approaches here. My favorite is approach number 1, and most people seem to have a consensus on that. But again, if you have other opinions, let me know. And finally, I explicitly wrote that enabling feature gates by default is a non-goal for this web. It would be a follow-up work. So it's this web is only about the ability to disable feature gates. So if you have any thoughts on this one, go ahead.
Yeah, I actually need to recall that because I went through it, but it was a long time ago, so I will take another look.
Yeah, no worries. We have plenty of time until web freeze. And by the way, I really like to see all these webs are submitted so early in the cycle. That's absolutely great. Yeah, and if you have a web for the next release, submit it as soon as possible. Yeah, and I guess that since we are just between releases, I'd assume that maybe the agenda would be a bit short. Just to check the release schedule of 1.8, just so everyone are aware. Sorry. Oh, it got merged. Good news. So here's the merge schedule. Basically, yeah, we have, so web freeze is targeted to January 7th. So a bit less than 2 months from now. So we do have a lot of time to review and discuss it all, which is great. But still, if you have apps, please submit them. And of course, we have the tracker ready for 1.8. It's a bit messy now, and we would need to start grooming it soon. But maybe it's a bit too early to do that right now. Yeah, so
If we don't have any other topics. I would like to discuss one web from that tracker, which is the DRA support. I think it's 11th.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. So for this particular web, I think we have. So first of all, Andrew already mentioned that we have an outstanding separate call every other week to talk about specifically this web. And from there, I would like to consolidate some information here on in the wider group. So the first thing we discussed last time was for this to make to beta, I think we would like to explore what API changes would be needed for making CPU DRA driver work. So for this release, I'll be looking at that. And the other issue that I saw open up by other people, and I think SIG network is involved there, which is making DRA work, making DRA network devices work with KubeVirt. Although that has intersection with the API here, I think the implementation is out of scope for this web. So I'm still forming opinions how to consider network web with this one. I don't have a solid answer yet, but there will be some overlap, I imagine. So yeah, those two things will be we'll be looking at it for this web. And for the CPU DRA driver, I anticipate adding a couple of new fields in the spec. Um, so I think the outstanding question would be, if we have new fields, would this be a second alpha, or would this still be okay to take this to beta? Yeah, questions.
So I think that just in general, I think that all of these API changes that are related to DRA, I think we need to consolidate it, and so you will run this right, like um, we will have some kind of a vision for where all of these pieces falling, and how we put them into VMI API. But we need to provide this vision, I think, and
Yeah.
so not like the other. Each of the teams will be. You know, we need to provide the skeleton, and then everybody will need to follow that skeleton. And another thing that you said about implementation. So I'm wondering how we're going to advertise that there's work that is currently being done during this section, like during this cycle. Sorry, um, we could split and then create different feature gates for different part of the API, and this way we could graduate one and then continue with the other. We did this with other things as well. But I think what the most important part is like, you know, the vision, like how everything is tied together, and then once we have that, we could create the additional feature gates.
Yeah, that
That's
I know, Edward, you have your hand raised, but quick response to what was just said. I think I 100% agree that actually makes more sense to have separate feature gates for things that are coming in new. I think that is what the Kubernetes DRA folks are doing as well, because this space is just way too big to iterate on everything at the same time. So in order to make small progress, we will have to define feature gates for each new thing that comes in, and we can track all of that in the existing web that is open here. um, Regarding how we track one whether some set of work is done or not, what I was thinking is that original issue we had that was linked to this cap, I have not marked that complete. That issue is still open, so we can have sections for alpha uh, alpha to beta, whatever releases that we plan for this cap. And in each of those sections, we can link the separate issue where work is being done for that release. That was what I was thinking. I wanted to ask if that works, or is there a better process that we should follow?
Eddie.
Yeah. Well, I'm not answering, I think here. It is the last question. So I just wanted to comment about network because it started with that new request to have it also for networking, and the scenario there, the use case there, I think. I mean, I just want to say to second Vladik, it's I think all of them are related, and one of the reason I think they are strongly related even is because in the API. There are several approaches that you can take it. I mean, from totally different directions. One is to have each section, like for example, network interfaces, to define option of DRA and reference a specific DRA and put there many details and so on. Or the other option is that every section will just point like a pointer to a common claim or claim template, whatever there is, and then everything is collected once, and then you can serve the VM. So I think that part of how the API will look like, it's pretty important. If every section will do its own thing, then it will look like a mess.
Yeah. So I think there will be, so I can speak on this at least from CPU and GPU or host devices API point of view. I've not dug into network yet, so I've yet to form opinions, but at least for CPU and GPU, there will be use cases where separate things will be required to make the UX simpler, in which case the uh, API will have like very small section in the CPU spec which can auto generate the resource claim for CPU. But then there will be use cases where if you want to do add some form of alignment between CPU and GPU, then user will have to provide a resource claim for it and then have that resource claim or resource claim template embed in CPU and GPU sections of the VMI API. And that is the advanced use case. For that, the UX might be a little bit more complex, but because the user knows what they want exactly, we will have a way to provide that in the API. So I think a mix of both is the right way to go, but I agree we will have that vision documented here, and we can discuss that, align on it, and then each independent piece can work on their section of the API.
Okay, it's if you want, we can talk. Maybe I should join the DRA meeting. I think we should talk with scenarios, like because they were presented to me. For example, that you can reference a claim, and then in that claim you have two devices, and in theory they will add both of them, but it's reference from one interface or it's reference from one CPU. So this is like these are the kind of question that are should be answered here.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
something needs to be like make sense.
Yeah, definitely. So what would help me if you can join the next DRA call with the use cases for network, and then I already have an action item to present a POC for CPU in the next call. So I think that will get all of us on the same page and we can make progress.
Eddie, but I think it's not just network. I mean, we need to figure out a way to make the API look at like the look and feel of the API in that area, similar to like not to harm those. it needs to be similar to what we have on one hand, but extendable. So, I mean, we already have something that is working for our users. We don't want to break anyone, but we want to introduce additional functionality. So, I mean, I wonder how we, on one hand, preserve the look and feel, and then on the other hand, allow extension.
Yes, this
So,
is exactly the. I think this is exactly the topic. But
yeah.
again, it comes from two directions. Just to clarify, one direction is that you have devices, and then you put them all the DRAs that you want in one place, not in the places where are the. For example, I'm not placing them in where the CPU is defined or where the GPU is defined, or GPU is actually easy, not where the interfaces are defined. So you put it in some devices. That's one option, but that option is a bit confusing. I mean, we can argue about it. The other option is that you put them in the where is the actual device, like where the interface is or where the CPU is, and then you point to some place that that it says, okay, the device is defined there, or the set of things are defined there. So I don't know the pros and cons so much. I do have a feeling that one it's like very odd. Like, for example, for me, a list of devices is odd compared to setting the things in the name of the type of the device. I don't know if that's clear. Like,
I think we completely overtook this meeting with the array, but
yes, sorry.
but no, that's important. I think. Um, yeah, I mean, maybe we should also consider another angle to this, that we already have an API for existing things, and if we know that the array is there, maybe we should generate some of this stuff like behind the scenes. So these are like all ideas that we need to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think not to overtake this too much, but these ideas are something I have prepared a POC for. So please, everyone who is interested, join that DRA meeting, and we'll continue discussing and forming these ideas more concretely for the next cycle. I just want to raise this question once again. Does this main issue of like issue number 10, uh, tracking all of the independent pieces of work happening related to DRA, in alpha, beta, and GA section, will that work, or do we have to have separate tracking issues um, for network and
So I mean, if we want to go with separate VEPs, and I agree with Vladik that we probably do, then I guess we should have a different tracker for every one of them. We could have a meta tracker for them all if we want to. I'm not sure if that's or maybe we can have another GitHub tracker for that or something like that. We could come up with something, but we need an issue for everybody.
Correct. So I think the guidance I'm hearing is whatever stuff goes into this web should be tracked here, and then everything else can be in its own separate web. And then if it is too spread out, then we can have a meta tracker outside that can track everything.
Yeah, you can.
Yep.
I think you need a meta, and this one should be like you should put the limit where it ends. That's it. Like, for example, define the API pattern or something like that, and from there you can continue with each one will do the same.
Got it. Yeah, I think the title does not suggest that, but the very first thing in the web is that this will only talk about the APIs and not the driver implementation. So uh, I think we need to modify the title to reflect that, and call it the API tracker.
Yep. Sounds great.
Thanks. Thanks, folks.
Thank you. Any other thoughts about this or anything else, or we will wrap up? Going once, going twice.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Have a great
Thank
day.
you. Bye-bye.
Talks.
Luba was quiet for some reason. Are you here, Evan? Probably not. Right.
This is still recorded.